So welcome back everybody to NVision Self, part 2 of our talk about Belisarius, Justinian, and we got an extra player on the board that eventually I would love to do a show about. So as we mentioned in the last show, we talked about vision. That's what we're going to talk about today, the big picture. Who sees the big picture better? Is it the owner of the business, or is it the one person that's on the floor, the one that's leading the men and women that is in the business? And a lot of the business owners and a lot of the leaders say, well, the businessman, the owner has this vision. I think that's incorrect because sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. The owner of the business doesn't exactly have a bigger vision or a big picture. A lot of the time, what the business owners, what we have is an ideal vision, and we have a dream that we want to accomplish. That doesn't mean big picture. That just means dream. I want X, Y, and Z. But that doesn't show the big picture of what's going on. Justinian wanted a unified Holy Roman Empire, Africa and Italy. But that wasn't the big picture. That was a dream. That was a vision. That's why they called him a visionary. So let's take a look what is happening in 540 AD. So as we're looking at 540 AD, the conquest of Italy is almost complete. Belisarius is at the gate of Ravenna, which is the capital of the Ostrogothic Empire. And I know in my first show I said Visigoth a couple of times. I apologize. Once again, it's Ostrogothic Empire. There is a unity to the army because now nobody questions his orders. And as Justinian kind of sits in Constantinople, that conquest, that dream is almost complete. And all of a sudden, he gets a message. A messenger arrives. The eastern border is attacked by the Persian Empire. And the reason why it's attacked is because Vitiges, who is the king of the Ostrogoths, he petitions Khosrow, a leader of the Persian Empire, which is an unbelievable, enigmatic, energetic leader, and I hope we get to talk about him and the things that he's done. What he does, finally, the little conflicts on the east border, they just kind of get annoying from the Roman Empire. Well, his west border, or Roman's east border, and he just attacks. He finds that one of the perfect reasons to go ahead and go to war. All the Roman armies are tied up in Italy, or the best armies are tied up in Italy, so he crosses that eastern border with a massive host. So what does Justinian do? He scrambles, he pens a letter to Belisarius, say drop everything and come back to Italy to defend. He gets 2 senators to take the letter. When the senators get to Italy, they get to Belisarius. And he's a little bit shocked because you never see, senators just writing by themselves with a very small envoy. And he reads the letter and it says literally to just drop everything. We need your help over back in Italy. So we're not going to go into his mind yet. Let's go ahead and just go through the story. Let's go through the history. He says no. He says, I sacrificed too much. We're this close on a cusp. I'm going to see this through. What happened is his army starts questioning him like, man, you never said no before. What's going on? So what Belisarius does, he gathers all his generals and puts it to a vote. He says, do you want me to go ahead and drop everything and forget everything that we sacrificed and just go? And unanimously, all the generals says yes, and he says, that is fine, I will sign this order then. So what we have going on now is a little bit of cracks kind of showing everywhere. While that is all happening, the Ostrogoths, they're trying to work out a deal, and are trying to think what to do not to get their city sacked. First, they thought, why don't we, as in old days, just put in a leader that is in charge of this part of the Roman Empire, that'll still answer to Justinian or whoever wears the purple in Constantinople. But what they go with is an interesting offer. They offer the rule of Italy to Belisarius. And Belisarius thinks on this. He never wants the rule. But if that helps him to take Ravenna and unify Italy and bring it under the Roman hold, he needs to do it. So what he does, he gathers all his generals again and all his people and says, if I can end all of this really quickly, there's going to be no sacking, nothing. Are you with me? But he never tells them what he's going to do. So he signs the treaty with the Ostrogoths, walks into the city, but then immediately abdicates, says, now you're part of the Roman Empire, which is a little insane given his character. He is very incorruptible, very straightforward, a straight shooter, so to say. So what happened? He lies. And then he packs up his force and heads right back over to Italy to help out. You take a look at Justinian, and as he's sitting there, he goes, okay, the Italy is back in our fold, but the time that it cost, because he said no, because Belisarius says no, one of my closest friends, closer than a family to me, it gave Khosrow the ability to literally just ravage the countryside. And also the way he brought this into the fold was a little weird. At any time the Ostrogoths were broken, we could have come back. And what happens is it starts creating that distrust between the two. Eventually they were able to beat Khosrow back, but not without the countryside being ravaged. Tons of money being paid to Khosrow, just a humiliation, and that creates that rift between Justinian and Belisarius. And just to give you an understanding of what Khosrow did, just to show him how an enigmatic and smart leader he is, he literally thought, well, sieges are expensive, it costs people lives and everything like that. So what would he do? He would come up to a city with his gigantic army, knock on their door and goes, tell you what, I won't sack your city, but you got to give me a gigantic bag of money, and I will just mosey on out the other way. And that's what happened. And he hit every town just like that. There's only one town that said no, and we'll talk about it later. And then when finally Justinian said that he'll pay him even more money to leave, Khosrow goes, well, you know what? Until I get the message back, I'll just go right back and hit every town again and hit them up for more money. So very interesting how that worked. So once again, money is out of the treasury. The countryside is ravaged. The taxes are not being brought in. We can talk about what happens afterwards later, but right now we want to focus on Justinian's point of view and Belisarius' point of view. Who is right and who is wrong? And I can hear through the internet, I can hear right now through the Ethernets and through the cords and everything, all the business owners screaming, Belisarius should have said, dropped everything and would have gone there because Justinian sees the bigger picture. No, Justinian sees just what's in front of him. So let's take a look at Justinian's vision. Justinian's vision is this, right? And he wants a unified Rome. And right before that happens, he has some kind of threat, a fire that he needs to put out, but he's overcommitted on the other end. So he's asking for his right-hand man, his manager, the one that's, in business, the one that's always been there to come back and help. There's nothing wrong with that because we can understand that vision because he sees what's happening right there and then, and every business owner is going like, we see what's happening in a business. What you fail to recognize is the human element of what is happening. And this is where all of this and businesses falling apart happen because we don't take the human element in our mind and we do not think like humans, we think like these tyrannical a-holes. Because I said it and it's the way it needs to be done because this can cost me everything. Well, let's take a look at what's going on in Belisarius' mind. Once again, Justinian is not thinking anything wrong, But once again, we're forgetting that human element. So when you take a look at what's happened with Belisarius, for 5 years, he has been underfunded. He had people arguing with him. He lost people. He did everything he could. He put his entire soul into this because at the request of Justinian, of the emperor or the business owner, with all that sacrifice, he's standing right before he finishes that mission, right before this is done, right before this project is finished. And he gets a yoink, nope, I need your help here because there is a fire, you have to trust me. Sorry, business owners. That's going to be tough. There is some very treacherous waters you're going to have to go through to get that understanding. That's the mindset of a person who's just sacrificed manpower, time, energy, everything, and now you're going to pull them away. And then you're going to blame them because of this is happening, and you can't. Both big pictures, they're different big pictures, but both are correct. So what can we do as business owners, and not just business owners? What can we do is, if I have managers who are watching this, trust me, you're not without fault too. What can we do? Because at that point of time, it took weeks and months for messages to travel. We don't have that problem anymore because, ta-da, we got this little toy, right? So what can we do? We need to start understanding human beings. We need to start understanding that we're dealing with people, with their own emotions, with everything. And once we understand that, we can connect better. What Justinian wanted is no way, shape, or form is wrong. There is a fire that threatens your entire business. Let's say it like that. That threatens your entire business that you know would send you back years, months. And you need to put that out and you need to put your best person on it. One, you need to explain to that person better. You need to empathize first. Most of us think we understand empathy. Most of us think that we understand other people. We don't, because as humans, all of us here, we are foremost very selfish. So I'm sorry if you guys are not Mother Teresa and you're not the Dalai Lama. I'm sorry. Like, you're not. Not me, not you. That's why there is one in so many billions, right? So we have to understand that, and we have to take that selfishness and we got to put it in a back seat. And we have to approach this person, your right-hand man or woman, with humble intent to say, hey, I know you have been working on this, and I understand this is not just important to me, but it is very important to you. You sacrifice everything, and I promise you, and you have to follow back up on that promise. We will get back to this. This is going to get finished. It's almost done. But if we don't handle this, then all of this work that you put in here will crumble. Please understand, I'm not asking you as a business owner. I'm asking you now as a friend. I'm asking you now as a human being. Please help. I cannot do this without you. When you put yourself out like that, if the person who you're asking help from will tell you no, then they were never meant for that position. But I guarantee you, if that person is meant for that position, they will turn to you and they go, you know what? This sucks. I did sacrifice, but thank you for coming to me. I understand. And even if I might not understand, you coming down to this level and speaking to me out of being humble and speaking to me out of point of empathy, I'm going to trust you. This is why you're the business owner. Ultimately, you are the leader. And you stand and you go over there and you do your thing, and then you together come back and finish what you started here. And a lot of us as business owners, and I know what I hear, my company is huge. Why do I got to take care of every little thing? Because, idiot, you're on top. You're required to know every name of your employee. I don't care if you have 10 or if you have a million. You're required to know all of them. You're required to know all of their stories and everything. And only then you will work like clockwork. And I know some of you say, well, Walmart CEO doesn't know the name of all of his employees. Yeah, how are they doing right now? But let's talk about smaller businesses, right? I have a couple of friends, their businesses are very successful and they know the name of all of their employees and they treat them as human beings. And they understand and they're helpful and it's unbelievable. You could see their businesses flourish. You have to come from that point. You are the leader. Now, let's add on something else to the point of Justinian. What happens, because Justinian was in many projects. You're building the Hagia Sophia, you're doing all of these restoration works, especially after the Nika revolt. You're doing all these things, you're trying to set up trade deals and things like that. So you step away from the business, right? You step away from that business of war, or in your business, you step away from the business and you allow the other person. So that's where that little switch happens. If you don't keep yourself in the business all the time, things like this may happen. If you constantly stay within your business, back up, come back, back up, come back. When the fire happens on that side, you can go and check it out. Don't spread yourself thin. If you have a right-hand person and you put a lot of stuff over there and you are not there in a business and you're taking a step back, you need to get yourself a left hand and go, you handle this, you handle this, and I'll make sure everybody is happy. Oh, that's a lot of work. Oh, yeah, I know. Success takes a lot of work. It's just like any business. When you first start, you're doing everything. You're the right hand, you're the left hand. I'm sorry, you're the right hand, you're the left hand, and vice versa to you, mirror image. You're all of the hands, you're the head, you're the hat, or whatever you guys want to see. You wear 3 different hats, right? The imith. You're all the hands. So what makes you think when you step back, you only need a right hand? Who's taking care of the left hand? If you step back and you pursue other things, which once again it's good, it's great. But if you're going to step back, make sure you have your business handled. And that's what happened. Roman Empire was never whole again because of all the cracks that happened between Belisarius, between Justinian. Then you got the plague, the first instance of the plague that came in, the bubonic plague, right? Everybody thinks it was in Middle Ages. No, it started right around there. It's terrible because Roman Empire never came together again, and they were this close. They say he is one of the emperors, last of the emperors, last of the people that was able to dream, right? Come to your employees from the point of empathy and being humble. And when you do that, you'll actually see the people who are needed in your company, who are there to support you. Because if they're not, you can get rid of them. Because when you have a foundation of that support and love and everything like that, you will reach unimaginable heights. It doesn't need to just go to your business. It could go in your personal life, in your family life, in your relationship with your children or your friends or your girlfriends, boyfriends, wife, husband, etc. And I know it's tough and I know it takes work, but anything you need takes work. It's kind of like, working out. Hurts at first, but then it gets better. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. I'm going to leave you guys with a lot to think about. And before I say I'll see you guys on the mats, let me clarify. It doesn't mean that I'll see you on the mats like falling down and everything like that. It means I'll see you on the mats because we work on the mats. We sweat on the mats and we get better at the mats. So when I say I'll see you on the mats, I don't mean crawling. I mean working on the mats. So once again, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Leave a comment, leave a like, please share, and I'll see everybody working on the mats. Have a good one.